Hello, I'm Ann Gritch, and I'm delighted to welcome you to this segment of the oral history of the Diocese of San Jose. And with me today is Father Vincent Pineda, who is currently the pastor of St. Cyprian Parish in Sunnyvale. So we're delighted that you're here, Father Vincent.
Well, thank you for having me, Ann.
Oh, my pleasure. Now, can you tell us a little bit about your background? Were you born in the Philippines?
Yes, I was born in the Philippines, 1976.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, came from a big family. I'm the eldest of 7 children.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. And where did you go to school?
Ever since Catholic school. Yeah.
Catholic school all the way through.
I was over at St. Joseph's School in Olongapo City, where we used to have the U.S. Naval Station.
Ah.
Yeah, so that's where I grew up.
So you went through grammar school and high school there?
High school, I went to St. Augustine Minor Seminary.
Ah.
And it's Iba Zambales. That's the capital of the province.
Okay.
So and then after that, I continued on to San Carlos Seminary in Makati in Manila.
Uh-huh.
And then so basically I took my undergrad, and then after finishing college seminary, I decided that I think it's too early for me. I think I need
a break,
some sort of break. So I took 2 years off, what we call the Regency, right? So I taught in a Dominican college while I was taking my master's in a Jesuit school.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. So and then after that, after 2 years, so I went back to the seminary and then started my discernment, and from there, that's where I decided to come here.
How did you choose San Jose? How did that work out?
Well, actually, it was a long process, a year process with Father Mark. Actually, Father Mark Catalana, God bless his soul. He's very instrumental because he I was already discerning whether I am after those 2 years that I was away from the seminary structure in the Philippines. When I came back, it seems that
after 2 years of relative freedom.
I think this is not something I may have been there before, but coming back seems to be something that it's not working for me. I know I would like to become a priest, but I didn't really. I think this is one of my realizations then, that within the call, God is still calling you.
The call within the call.
The call within the call, yeah. So that's why I was just inquiring, I think. Well, it's through the website of the diocese. So I went to the vocations.
Had you heard about San Jose?
No, never heard.
So you were just skimming for.
Well, I was doing. I think I was just doing a research about Saint Joseph, and then the website of the diocese of San Jose,
San
right?
Jose. Oh, right.
And it's so funny because my home parish in the Philippines is also Saint Joseph, and I studied in Saint Joseph.
Okay.
So. Yeah, so I was, and then I was asking him. So it was a year discernment.
Okay.
So it's not like it's like I said, okay.
I'm going.
Yeah. So Father Mark was helping me through my discernment, for that 1 year. Then he said, so if you're ready, let me know, and invited me. So that's where it started.
So then you went to St. Patrick's.
Yeah, St. Patrick's.
And how many years were you at St. Patrick?
I was there for I believe 4 years, including pastoral year.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So let me ask you before we go on, how much did you know about the history of our diocese? Because that's one of the reasons we're doing this project.
Yes, very little actually. I only know bits and pieces of it through the priest.
Sure.
The senior priest of the diocese. So yeah. So that's where because it's still a very young diocese.
It is. We're just 36 years old.
Yeah, 36 years old, yes.
Exactly. Exactly. So when you were at St. Patrick's, you chose lay ministry as your topic, and you honored me by asking me to be one of your readers.
Yes, and thank you for doing that.
Oh, I loved it. You did very. How did you come to choose that topic?
Well, because I believe that in the church, of course, the biggest portion of the population of the church would be the lay people. And I think it's important that we also recognize the fact that the church is theirs. They need to somehow recognize that being an integral part of the church, they also have a very important role in not only molding the life of the church, but at the same time becoming, what they are called to be servant leaders. So it's not only something that we priests or the religious should be doing. This is something that the lay people should recognize in themselves. Yeah.
How did your research and writing, because it took you it was a big project.
Yes,
because it was a master's thesis, as I recall.
But the thing is that I was not able to defend it.
Oh.
Yeah, for some reason.
For some reason, it didn't happen. But tell me, just the work on it and the finished product for your own, how did that influence how has it influenced your ministry?
It was very helpful for me because I was able to see not only the diversity of the diocese, but also the needs where I should be focusing more my energy as a priest. So I think that was really beneficial for me. I was still a seminarian then.
Right.
So when I became a priest, I realized that the reality of the diocese is something that's really a Herculean task that needs to be accomplished not only by myself but by the presbyter of the diocese.
Thank you. So even if you didn't get to defend it, it caused some very good to come from.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Now, you were ordained in 2005.
That's
right?
correct.
Who were your classmates?
Father John Poncini.
Oh, really?
Father Mark Arnson. Father Joseph Page. Who else? Father Andres.
Oh, yes. So that was a fairly big class. There were 5 of you then.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then later on, I think Father Jonathan Cuarto.
Oh, yes.
And I think Father Randy Valentin as well. Yeah.
Okay. So what was your first assignment?
First assignment was over at Holy Spirit Church in Almaden. So my pastor then was Father Brendan McGuire.
And then you went to St. Cyprian, if I remember.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was 11 years ago.
11 years ago. That's amazing. So who were your mentors in those early days, would you say?
When I came here in the U.S., that was in 2001 as a seminarian. So the first parish that the parish that somehow embraced us, the new guys coming from the Philippines, St. John the Baptist in Milpitas, and the pastor then was Father Bob Luce.
Yes, indeed.
So since then, he has been a mentor, and we were kidding that during that time, because we were still seminarians, we're still like new in the diocese. So he'll be the one to drive us around. We had this like summer courses in the city colleges, and he was the one. I remember there was one time that he accompanied me over at Mission College, and then the students there thought that he was my dad. So he's one of the first persons that has somehow taught us about the diocese and going around.
Where did you do your pastoral year?
I did it over at Christ the King in San Jose. My pastor then was Father Robert Brocato.
Right. That was a fairly new parish at the time.
Yes, I believe so.
Excuse me. So 11 years ago, you were at St. Cyprian as a fairly new priest.
Yes.
And 11 years later, or 10 years later, you become the pastor.
Yes.
What changes did you see in the parish?
A lot.
Really?
So the people that I met 10 years ago are not there. It changed dramatically, the makeup of the parish.
So were there any familiar faces when you
Yes,
came back?
there are still familiar faces, but only a few people, few people that I really know.
Can you describe the parish for us?
So the parish basically is more diverse now. So we have and more Hispanic families. So I know when I was there as a parochial vicar, they were like, we're just starting the Spanish Mass. But now, it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, mass attendance there.
Well, I know there's a group of the Spanish-speaking who graduated from the Institute for Leadership and Ministry and have been doing some good work at your parish. Yeah, that's. What are the joys of being a pastor?
Joy of being a pastor? Let me see. I think first is the fact that you are able to lead, the people and have their support. Not only for big or small projects, but for you to be able to help them with their life of faith. So being, shepherding the people. I think that's, for me, a very fulfilling thing as a pastor.
Okay. What are the challenges?
Challenges would be, one would be the work, that is required for someone who is called to be pastor, especially the administrative part of it.
And that's a lot, isn't it?
Yes, because the thing is, although the seminary has been very good at preparing us in the parish life, but I think more should be given, more attention should be given in the administrative part. So I think we need, as young priests, that help, that more push in order for us to better administer the parish.
Now, can you talk a little bit? St. Cyprian was one of the 3 parishes that
of Sunnyvale.
Sunnyvale.
Yes.
And tell me a little bit about the school, how that whole thing happened.
So the school, before it was St. Cyprian's, right?
And it was a grammar school.
Yes. And then, I don't know when, I think it's like 4 years or 5 years ago, they combined St. Cyprian School and St. Martin, Sunnyvale, and then it became Catholic Academy of Sunnyvale. So when I came in 2 years ago, that was already Catholic Academy of Sunnyvale.
Okay.
So
so were some classes at St. Cyprian and some at St. Martin? Is that how they did it?
I think that was the original plan, but I think that didn't happen.
Work.
It didn't work. So so all the students, both St. Cyprian's and St. Martin's, were at the Catholic Academy, where St. Cyprian church is.
Ah, okay.
So they put everyone there.
Okay, and then this year there is not a school at St. Cyprian.
No, so they decided to close it, before the summer. Yeah, because of not enough students enrolled for the next school year.
School year, yeah. I think that's happening all over the country, from what I understand. Yeah. Let's just talk a little bit about your Filipino heritage, your culture, your upbringing. As a Filipino, how has that influenced your ministry, would you say?
Basically, if you've been to the Philippines, you would notice that's like I don't know what the percentage now, but 95, maybe perhaps more than 95% are Catholic. So I grew up in a
very
Catholic atmosphere. So that somehow has helped me know my vocation, and I grew up with my great grandparents.
Oh my!
Yeah. So and I was exposed to Irish priest, in the parish, and gone through Catholic school. So I think those are elements, that somehow help me recognize the vocation to the priesthood. So, and the popular religiosity of the Filipinos, is something
Santo
that
Niño.
the Santo Niño. You have, of course,
Zimbabwe.
our love for the Blessed Mother.
Yes. Yeah.
And all these things. So these are the things that I also see when I came here. These are also some of the things that I see from different cultures as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. What adjustments have you had to make as a Filipino?
Adjustments. A lot of adjustments.
Can you talk about that?
So when I came here, I think one of the challenges was even though we know English, it's like that's a medium of instruction in the Philippines as well.
But you don't speak it at
I
home.
don't speak it at home. So yeah, that's something that we need to, if I may say, relearn or something. And then also because of so many cultures that that are present here in the diocese, I have to be more conscientious of the way I deal with each other. It's you deal with someone, for example, from Asia differently than from someone who came from Europe or who was born and raised here in America. So those challenges.
I can imagine. And I think about 40%, close to 40% of the presbyterate here in San Jose are Filipino, either born here or from the Philippines. What do you think might be some of the challenges and what might be some of the ways for that? Because it's a block. I mean, 40% is a lot. To integrate into the whole presbyterate. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So, yeah, that's what I heard. It's like, I think it's like, yeah, you're right. Something like 40%.
Or close to 40%.
But the thing is this: even though it's it's like a big chunk of the presbyterate, we have to remember that not everyone came from the same region. So we among ourselves have to deal with differences as well. So, but at the same time, I think what's good about being part of that group is for us to recognize as well that we are also part of a larger group. I think this is something that we have imbibed in us because especially the history of the Philippines as well. So there's been a lot of people who came in and out of the country. So I think it's just the sense of being open to people, being respectful and open to what people would bring to the table.
Okay. Yeah. Because I think it's it's a very natural thing for the same group, whether they be the Latinos or the Filipinos or the Vietnamese, to get together because your background is similar, your sense. But at the same time, as you pointed out, there is the larger body.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's more of having a support system. I think it's important. I think I can speak for myself of being foreign born. It is a challenge, to be in a place where you don't know everything. Yeah. So you always ask your elders, and it's like just like in our own families. You ask if you don't understand something or you're not sure. So you go to the people that you trust, people that would support you. So I think that is something. I think that is great to have, a particular group to belong.
Sure. See, I can understand that. I'm wondering too, what's it like for those of you who were born in the Philippines and came here, and those who a Filipino background but were born here? It'd be interesting to see what kinds of differences, what kinds of similarities growing up here as opposed to growing up in the Philippines. Like you were talking about the popular religiosity, the love of the Blessed Mother. Now we have that too, but you know, we're back in Mundelein, Father Bob and I, and one of our seminarians is Victor Trinidad, who is from St. Victor, and he was born here. And I was thinking to myself, be interesting just to see what kinds of differences there are. Because I don't know how many of our current Filipino priests were born here. I don't think too many. Because we are still a young diocese.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's Victor would be the first one.
He might be.
Yeah.
He might be. So what would you say, or what do you see as the challenges for our diocese for the next 36 years, let's say?
Well, I'm speaking as a pastor.
Sure.
Of not a big church. It's you know just an okay parish, St. Cyprian's, but the influx of immigrants. I think we have to cater to the needs of those coming in as well. And I think the diocese has been very good. Yeah, it's been very good, but we need more vocations to the priesthood and religious life. And I think I'll go back, I think, to my own personal experience with how I was invited to come to the diocese. Father Mark has, I mean, as I said, instrumental, and at the same time, I think he was thinking ahead, to invite those who are not locals, who are out there.
Exactly.
And just trusted the promptings of the Holy Spirit. Yeah, and I think this is something that sometimes we don't realize, that God, God's mysterious ways also help us to become church. So this is something that is not something only within the confines of the diocese, but this is larger than who we are as a church.
Well, and I think you really hit on something, that whole concept of invitation. I suspect when you were doing your research on lay ministry that many of the lay ministers said the reason that they entered ministry was because somebody invited them,
yes.
or told them, you'd be good at this.
Yes.
You read well. Have you thought about being a lector? So I think you really hit on that the concept of invitation. And I think particularly for our immigrants, for our newly arrived, a wonderful way to get involved, is to be a lector, communion minister, get involved in your parish, I think. So that, I would agree with you, that is definitely going to be a challenge, I think, in our diocese.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other challenges that you see?
Well, the challenge is, I think one of the challenges as well is that because we're growing, we're growing as a church, so we need more churches.
We need more churches,
yes,
especially in the South County.
Yes. Yeah. Before I was pastor over at here at St. Cyprian's, I was over at St. Mary's in Gilroy for 5 years, and I know how,
that church is packed.
Yeah, how badly we need help over there.
Yeah, you're right. What are your hopes for our diocese?
Well, my hope is that more young people, who will be able to open their hearts, just to be open to the possibility of, being priest, or part of a religious congregation, or even being part of lay ministry, lay leadership in the diocese. I think that would be something that I'm really hoping
for.
Hoping that one day we'll be able to get more younger people.
Yeah. And of course, I think you're saying this from as pastor of a parish that has an older congregation.
Yes.
So, what else should we be talking about, Father Vincent? We've covered a lot of territory.
Yes. I'm just happy. I think that God has called me to be His priest, and and to be His priest here in the Diocese of San Jose. I think it's a wonderful diocese to be part of, and at the same time, yes, it hones the gifts that God has given me. So I'm learning a lot every day. Yes, and new and wonderful experiences.
Well, and I suspect people are learning from you as well.
I hope so.
I think so. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us and adding your part to the history of our diocese.
Oh, thank you, Anne. Thank you for you and for Father Bob for inviting me.
Certainly.
Yeah.
This was great.
Thank you.